Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Today, we're going to be looking at cybersecurity and how to be safe online. So stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. Ryan, another great episode in which you're going to be helping us to stay safe.
Absolutely. I mean, cybersecurity is important. Everybody talks about it, but unfortunately, not enough people take their own advice and do the right thing when they're online. We're constantly using multiple devices to connect to the internet. So from desktop computers to laptops to those phones that we have in our pockets that are very, very powerful. We're online more often and in more places than ever before. So cybersecurity is essential, and we're going to talk a lot about it. And I do want to mention that we do have a great brochure, Cybersecurity Help Information and Protection Program, the CHIP brochure. And I want to go ahead and show you how to get that online. So you can print out a copy or call our office and ask for a copy, or at least have it as reference online so you can take all these tips and put them to use. Okay, so I am at ohioattorneygeneral.gov, which is the main website for the entire Ohio Attorney General's office. And the easiest way to get to our CHIP brochure, our cybersecurity booklet, is to go to publications in the top left corner. You want a publication. So I'm going to click on publications, which is the third option in the middle of the screen. Then I am looking for a consumer publication. And you see the third one down is Cybersecurity Help Information and Protection Program, the ever popular CHIP booklet. So I can just click on it and I get the multi-page booklet. If you're looking at it in person, it's stapled together, but you can go ahead and print off copies. You can ask our office for copies. You can bookmark it on your internet browser so you can get to it and get all the great information from the cybersecurity booklet at ohioattorneygeneral.gov.
Is the publication at a cost or is it free?
Oh, it's absolutely free. We do this as a service to consumers throughout Ohio. Our office is paid for obviously through tax money and through settlement money and things like that. And every bit of the publications we do are free, and as are the presentations. So if you, in fact, want a presentation, you can give us a call at 800-282-0515, or simply go to the Consumer Protection Section's website at ohioprotects.org, and we can line up a speaker. Now, we can do a virtual presentation on cybersecurity, or we can do one in person. If it's in person, we like to have at least 20 people in the audience because traveling's usually involved. But either virtual or in person, we have presentations on cybersecurity. We have one for teens and one for adults. So now we're going to devote the program today, the meat of the program, to staying safe in cyberspace, and some of those tips that we will give you if we come out and give a presentation are going to be included in the rest of today's interview.
It seems that there's a lot of information about cybersecurity. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of be careful out there. But let's face it, if we have not been hit by cybersecurity, it's very easy to think, well, it's never going to happen to me.
Yeah, and in those cases, it's sort of like identity theft or other types of crimes. If you're not careful enough, if you're not proactive at all, you end up becoming a victim, and you don't know about it until it's too late. And so with cybersecurity, if you click on a link and you're not sure where it goes, if you double click on an attachment, you're not sure exactly what you're opening up, if you're downloading a piece of music or a game, and it's from an unknown source, or it's from an unusual foreign website. Those are kind of recipes for how to get malicious software on your computer. And so being proactive is so very important, as it is with protecting our identity and protecting our money. Protecting ourselves online is just as important these days.
Working at the Ohio State University, we have such a secure site that sometimes I get emails indicating this could be a potential spam.
Sure.
And even on my phone, this could be a potential spam. So
yeah,
it sort of lulls a person to sleep when they have really good security.
absolutely. And it's very important to put antivirus and anti-spyware and things like that on your computer, but it's also important to update it. And so if you want to set your computer, if your computer asks you if you want it to regularly check for updates, that's great. I mean, please have that computer do it as often as it'll do it. But otherwise, regularly check your operating system, your internet browser, and your antivirus program for updates. You want to have all the updates because they're always coming out with new viruses. Just like with COVID, how there are all these little shoot-offs of the COVID virus. In cyberspace, there are offshoots and there are new viruses coming out all the time. So unless you are fully protected by having the latest version and the latest updates of your antivirus program, you may still be a victim. And it may be more likely to be a victim if you don't have everything fully updated. In fact, I remember when Target had the data breach during a holiday season, and millions of consumers were just alarmed that this could happen at Target. But what happened was their heating and air conditioning contractor, a third party, didn't patch part of the website up. And that led a scam artist and led them to be able to infiltrate Target's own website and get a treasure trove of data. So again, that was an area where if the contractor had done the right thing and done all the security patches and done all the updates that they were supposed to be doing, that Target data breach might not have happened at all. So that's just one example, a big example of how security patches and antivirus updates are so significant in today's cybersecurity world.
One of the things that also needs to be updated is Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, whatever web service that you use, because it, again, lulls us to sleep that if nothing happens, we don't need to mess with it. But all those programs, we do need to update.
Absolutely. And securing your home network is very important too. I mean, your home network, your wireless network can include computers, gaming systems, printers, tablets, other devices. So you want to make sure you have a firewall. You want to make sure it's encrypted. You want to make sure usually the router comes with a default password that scammers may know the default password that a manufacturer uses for their router. So there's another gateway for a scammer to come in. And so it's important to change that default password to something that only you and your family know. So it's very important to secure that home Wi-Fi and not to use free public Wi-Fi out in the public realm, whether it's at a coffee shop or at an airport or anything else. Don't use that free public Wi-Fi to log in anywhere or to use passwords or to check email. You only want to use free public Wi-Fi for something that you wouldn't mind everybody seeing what you're doing. So maybe checking a sports score or a news story or seeing what's updated on your university's website. That's all fine if you don't have to log in or give any passwords out or any other personal identifiable information. Once you start doing financial transactions, tax returns, checking email that requires a password, anything like that should be reserved for your home network, where you hopefully have that firewall, you have that encryption, so you have a sense of security about your system that leads you to be able to do more and more with your computer and your devices now that you're on your home network versus at a coffee shop or on some other network that you're not sure about whether it's secure or not at all.
Speaking about passwords, I found that it's very easy to remember a complicated password and use it for everything. As a matter of fact, at one time I counted 25 different needs for passwords on different programs that I use. Is that wise to use just one?
Well, it's very unwise and to use the same password over and over again for different accounts, because if in fact someone guesses the password, you're going to want them to only infiltrate that one account, if any. You don't want them to be able to use that same password and effortlessly go into your email, your phone, your bank accounts, your stock accounts, your pension. Imagine how many different kinds of accounts we have right now, and imagine the damage that could be done just by guessing that one universal password. So you want to make sure passwords are difficult to guess and unique to each account. So it used to be that I used to tell people to use at least 8 characters. Now experts say to use at least 12 characters for a password. In fact, a lot of experts are saying that passwords are obsolete. You want to go with passphrases, a nice long passphrase that nobody would be able to guess, even if they know a little bit of information about you. Also, if you use a password, a 12-character or longer password, use special characters as well. Not just numbers and letters, but you want to use things like the asterisk or the ampersand, different kinds of symbols like that can fool around with scammers who may try to guess only letters and numbers.
I noticed on TV, different programs and movies, that someone who is really good about hacking pulls out a device, sticks it to a keypad, and within 10 seconds unlocks it. Does that happen?
Sure. I mean, it can happen if you use a short, uncomplicated, easy to guess password. That's why one thing that I try to support out there for people who want to unburden themselves with passwords and passphrases is to get a reputable password manager. That's something that you can load on your devices where you have a master password, and that better be hard to guess. A master password, a long, complex password, and then it can do the work for you with in terms of creating other passwords for all of your accounts. And it'll make them unique, it'll make them long and hard to guess. And all you'll have to remember is your master password. So that's a really good way, as long as it's a reputable, secure password manager, that's one way of having only one master password to remember instead of having to recite over and over again 25, 50, 75 different unique passwords for each account under the sun that you now have. And it seems like it's always growing. Rarely do I delete an account or exit an account and never use it again. It seems like there's just more. It's just layers and layers of accounts that we use as we go through our consumer duties and our work duties and our family life. It's just all a plethora of different accounts, and those all need unique, hard to guess passwords. That's why for most folks, a reputable password manager is ideal.
For those that are not attached to a large organization like the State of Ohio Attorney General's office or Ohio State University or Ohio University, it's just them in their own home. Are they more vulnerable to cybersecurity threats?
I would say small and large organizations are vulnerable as well as individuals, because sometimes scammers really don't even know who they're trying to infiltrate. By that, I mean they may be using automatic bots, they may be using lots of automated systems to try to hack into anywhere that may have a breach or may be susceptible to being hacked into. So they may get a small business that doesn't back up their data often enough. They may get a large institution like an educational institution or a big administrative office, or they may get, an average homeowner like you and me. So I think everyone is vulnerable to some extent. And it's even more important when you're entrusting a bank or a credit card company or a credit reporting agency or a government. It's even more important for them to be on top of security, because people are entrusting them with their valuable information. Sometimes it's your social security number, sometimes it's your full date of birth, sometimes it's credit card numbers and PINs and passwords. We have so many personal identifying information pieces out there that when we entrust a company or an organization or a government office to hold that information, we believe they're going to do the right thing, and we believe that there is not going to be a data breach. But in fact, many times scammers are able to breach the system, get at the data, and it becomes compromised. And that's just a reality where everything from retail stores to government organizations has suffered data breaches. They may have been even very careful. But hackers are good. They spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at their job, using a lot of automated computer systems to try to just hack into any vulnerability out there on the internet. So it's really important to be careful. And when you're going to a coffee shop, when you're going to a mall, or you're going to an airport or a train station, something like that, you don't want to do banking. Even if you think it might be a secure network, you don't want to do banking. You don't want to ask for a credit report, which usually requires personal identifying information. You don't want to start working on your tax return. You don't want to charge anything on your credit card that would require you to input either a password or the credit card number itself. It's too risky. Even if they say the network is secure, wait till you get home. Wait till you're behind a firewall and a secure network that you know is secure, because it's your own.
We know that computer systems and smartphones are susceptible to cybersecurity. What about some of the other things that we have around the house, like a doorbell that's connected to the internet, or a refrigerator where we can change the temperature? What about all of those? Are these susceptible to cybersecurity problems?
Absolutely. I mean, when we talk about the Internet of Things, I mean, sometimes even a refrigerator has a password these days. Never sent a refrigerator an email, but you pretty much can these days if you have the right refrigerator. All of these are sort of gateways into your network. So not to make people paranoid, but you at least have to be careful. You have to scrutinize. When you get something that you want to attach to a network, make sure it has a secure password. Make sure that your whole Wi-Fi system at home is carefully monitored, and that you have an antivirus on it and everything like that. Because with so many different products, like refrigerators, like HVAC systems connected potentially to your network, that's all the more worry that we should have, that we need to do the right thing and that we need to be cyber secure. So when we talk about those different systems, I'm not saying not to use them by any means. In fact, a lot of times we want to embrace the simplicity and sometimes the security of having to be able to perform work on your security system or your heating and cooling system, even if you're far away out of town. But with that comes risk. And so it's really important we recognize that. And if you have questions, if you have any concerns, contact the manufacturer or contact your internet service provider or contact the manufacturer of your computer or your router or your modem. Those can be very good allies in terms of good steps that you need to take to make your product more secure. And by the way, if you have a good conversation with them, they may tell you of updated products and services that might meet your needs. They may tell you about an update that you missed. So keep the lines of communication open with your manufacturers, with your internet service provider, with folks either locally or connected virtually to your home network. Make sure that you get tips from them and figure out what the best course of action is to make sure your cybersecurity is priority number one.
So if I happen to get a letter from a company like Target saying my information has been breached, should I change everything? What is recommended by the state of Ohio Attorney General's office?
Well, it really depends on what kind of data breach it is. Usually they may spell out what information might have been vulnerable to attack, that may have been compromised. Now, just because you are a victim of a data breach does not mean you're automatically going to become a victim of identity theft. It's not identity theft until someone actually uses your information to commit a fraud. But do you have to take precautions? Absolutely. So if you know that a credit card number has been compromised, you want to call your bank and let them know that you want to do the right thing. Your account number has been compromised. You also might be wanting to take advantage of whatever remedy or whatever solution the company who's the victim of the data breach, as well as you are, the company may have a program involved. Usually it's a 1 or 2 or 3 year program of identity theft protection that its consumers, its customers can take advantage of for free as a result of the data breach. So that's a time when you want to talk to your family, do some research and figure out whether that identity theft protection, considering it's available at no cost, might be something good for you to enroll in. So it's really making sure that you contact the bank, you contact whoever may have been, what account numbers may have been breached, but also looking at identity theft protection as a possible remedy as well.
If one of my credit cards gets hit, should I contact the state of Ohio Attorney General's office?
You certainly can. If you are a victim of identity theft, we actually have an identity theft unit that can help rectify the effects of that identity theft. Meaning we could work with debt collectors, we can work with creditors, we can work with the credit reporting agencies to help rectify the effects. If you don't want to work with us, that's fine, but you can go to a website the Federal Trade Commission has. That's www.identitytheft.gov, www.identitytheft.gov. And they have a do-it-yourself assessment tool, and it's something that they can even give you form letters and sample documents and things that you can work with to fit into your own scenario, and it'll give you recommendations on what to do. One thing's for sure, if you think your identity may have been compromised, you should definitely take a look at your credit report. And I know I say this a lot on this program and just about every program I'm on. Go to annualcreditreport.com. That is the website where you are allowed to get one free credit report every year from all 3 credit reporting agencies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. But you only need to remember one website, annualcreditreport.com. And by the way, if you're watching this in 2022, you are allowed to go every week to annualcreditreport.com and get copies of all 3 of your credit reports on a weekly basis, if you would like, because of COVID and because of the pandemic situation. Another option for you is to have an initial fraud alert put on your account. Very important if you think there's any chance at all that you may have been a victim of identity theft. Initial fraud alert is very important. That'll basically tell creditors to look for identification, to ask you for identifiable proof that you're who you say you are before they issue you credit. And yet another free option is to freeze your credit. You can always unfreeze it, but you can freeze your credit by going to all 3 credit reporting agencies: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. A credit freeze is another tool, another piece of ammunition in your toolbox in terms of protecting your identity. So consider an initial fraud alert, even consider a credit freeze if you have any inkling that you may be a victim of identity theft.
So it seems to me that the bulk of the responsibility really rests upon us,
Well,
we as individuals.
It does rest upon us as individuals with help from the Ohio Attorney General's office if you are truly a victim of identity theft, and with help from these very good tools like identitytheft.gov. I mean, they really go through step by step by step. They will walk you through exactly what to do to try to ensure that your identity is the effects are rectified and that your identity is brought back and that your good name is restored. It's an excellent website, and we have excellent professionals at the Attorney General's office. So whether you want to go through the self-help approach at identitytheft.gov or the one-on-one approach by working with someone in our identity theft unit, you certainly will be in good hands, both with the computer tool as well as with the Ohio Attorney General's office.
I was under the impression that as our technology has continued to grow, financial systems would hire the very best to stop all of this illegal going into our accounts, etc. Why are we still worried about cybersecurity?
Well, even with millions or billions of dollars spent by companies, banks, credit card companies, businesses that do the right thing, and a lot of them are doing the right thing, the scammers sometimes are still ahead of the game, or there's that one vulnerability that they didn't think of that is a gateway into your information. So I happen to believe that a lot of businesses do the right thing. They make investments, and we probably pay for those investments through the price of goods and services. But even in spite of everyone's good efforts to protect our personal information, sometimes scammers do stay a step ahead, and they try to infiltrate wherever they can get around to doing it. And that's where we have to put our gloves on and fight for our personal information and to make sure that it stays secure.
Hey, we're talking with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. Ryan, learned a lot, and I really appreciate the knowledge that you're presenting in this telecast.
Great, thanks so much. And I hope people will visit ohioprotects.org or just give us a call at 800-282-0515. We are there to help you as an Ohioan. So please get in touch with us. Let us know how we can help you. Thanks so much.